Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mr. Z and Fifth Show. I'm your host, Mr. Z, with my brethren right beside me, the Fifth General.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. How you doing today?
Good, man. Let's get into what's been going on. It's been an interesting week.
Oh, yeah.
Some things to dissect into, you know what I mean? Some things that everybody's talking about, So, we're going to start it off. Zaccheus, what we let the people know what's going on. I know people are talking about the coronavirus, yada, yada, yada. Vaccination, not having one, waiting for one. Where you want to go with this?
Yo, let me tell you something about this coronavirus. At first, I didn't know what the extent of it is when it first came out. When the first information about the coronavirus came out, but when I got into reading about it, because I see people, you hear people talk about things, viruses, but there was one thing to hear about the virus, but the one thing to understand the virus. Now, the virus is a multiple viruses that affects the respiratory system. Let's say if you catch the flu, it's easier to adopt the coronavirus because your immune system is low. Now, people that have like the flu, like start coughing and sneezing, you would kind of suspect it because the immune system is low and you more have the virus, the flu virus. Now, if your immune system is low and you have the flu virus, and it affects this is what it does. It affects your respiratory system. And then from your respiratory system, from your immune system, it affects your respiratory system. From your respiratory system, it affects you, it affects your lungs. And then if you have then it gets into bronchitis because of the coughing, bronchitis, and then it affects everything, and then it affects it gets into your lungs, which causes like the fluids in the lungs, which is like pneumonia. So it's a serious thing. But now, from what I understand is places like China, places like Italy, and three other places I'm trying to remember, that the coronavirus that's a really heavy. So people that traveling from Italy, people that traveling from China, they have it. They claim that they be carrying the virus. Now the latest news I heard, especially affecting New York, is that they have 22 cases right now. 22 cases in New York. People that was affected by it. I heard about the 47-year-old. I heard about the 80-year-old woman today that has the virus because he was borrowed. That's one thing you don't do. If you're, ladies and gentlemen, if you're smoking a vapor, those electrical vapors, you don't borrow it from somebody else. This is all type of things you just don't do things. Like, let's say if I put my lips on something, then you're gonna put your lips on it too. Like, let's say if a man put his lips on a cigarette, then you're gonna put your lips on the cigarette too. First of all, me and Fifth, we don't smoke, but still, it's like common sense would say that, okay, you don't know where this person's lips has been, but why you putting your lips on something that somebody else put their lips on? I never was into that, never agreed to that. Even back then, it's just something that I just don't do. Especially everywhere I go now, I wash my hands. I've been washing my hands even before the coronavirus. Been putting on hand sanitizer, washing hands before the coronavirus. But this is what happens when you don't wash your hands, you don't take care of yourself. Then you're gonna expose yourself to they say crowds. You're more easier to get it in a crowd. Well, easy to get the coronavirus in the crowd, but which is true because some people, I do hear people hacking away, sneezing, coughing. Listen, you speak about the last days, man. It's a plague, and that's what it is. It's a plague, and I just call it like it. Every few years they come up with something. They have SARS. Then they was talking. Then one time they had the West Nile virus. The other time they had what's the other one? They had the West Nile virus.
Ebola.
Yeah. They had that one too. Yeah. Whew. And now the coronavirus. We don't know how far this thing is gonna spread, but we just hoping and praying, man. But people are getting affected by it. Yeah, so think twice before you. People doing elbows with each other. I seen that today when they went to go see my father in the hospital. They're doing elbows with each other. No more bumping fists. No more shaking hands. Too much. There's Asians I see in the city wearing a mask. There's not even just Asians. Asians. I see some of our folks wearing masks on their face. I see people wearing masks cover which covers the nose and the mouth. Yeah. So listen. I just you clean yourself. Give yourself a shower every day. You have to. That's something that's not true. You got to do that. And you got to wash your hands. And then before you pick up any finger food or any food, wash your hands. Put hand sanitizer. This is just things that you should do to prevent something like that. I mean, and oh man, Phil, what do you think about the coronavirus, man, spreading around, man?
Okay, I got a lot to say about this, but I'll keep it brief because of our next subject, or I might not be able to be able to keep it brief. I'll say this: as somebody like me who is a conspiracy theorist of some sorts, I want people to really just take a step back and just look at this whole situation. There have been, throughout the last 15 years, I mean, well, even before I was born, man, 20 years, 30 years, I'm 32 now, okay? Listen, man, a couple years ago, everybody was talking about Ebola. Nobody talking about Ebola no more. Swine flu, bird flu, Zika. Ain't nobody talking about Zika no more, okay? And eventually, nobody's going to be talking about coronavirus no more. And coronavirus, to me, I believe, just like most sicknesses and diseases, whether they be STDs or bacterial, I believe they are all cooked up in some lab, in some test tube or some petri dish or whatever the heck they got it in, and some refrigerator or whatever they got it, and then somehow they let that thing out, and then they let it do its work, population control. That's just what that's what I think it is. That's what I think it is, and I believe there's already a cure for it. They can miss me with that. They can miss me with that. It'll take a year for a vaccine. Heck out of here. Okay, I believe they got a cure for it. There's already they're talking about there's 2 different types of strands of this virus. How would you know that quick? That would mean the virus would have to exist long enough for you to know that. Another thing is, I think the numbers are cooked up a bit. They're skewed and slanted, making people seem like, I think the numbers of the cases and those who actually tested positive are a little off. You know what I'm saying? I think for the people who actually have it, and for the people who think they have it or how they're treating it, at the same time you have influenza B running around here, another man-made sickness. Okay. And if you have flu B, they have to treat you for corona. They have to test you for corona. So you got people out here catching the flu, and people were saying, oh, well, he got corona, she got corona. Nah, they ain't got corona. They got the flu. Now, the symptoms are similar. They're similar. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Right. So they have to quarantine people and all this other stuff. And, I read an article.
When people catching the flu and coughing, they're getting scared. They're getting scared. As soon as somebody start coughing, people get scared. As soon as somebody start like blowing their nose, people getting scared, man.
I mean, look, tuberculosis is still around. That didn't go anywhere. People, I guess, are forgetting about that. Those symptoms are similar too. So there's a lot of things that are out here that are similar to what the coronavirus is. So the precaution and the measures that people have to take is, oh, well, they got this, so they might have died from it. No, you got people who have been dying from other things, and they've been saying it's the coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? People were walking around here with masks, and that's cool and all, but you got people out here buying masks from the same place to where they feel the disease started.
Mm-hmm.
So that defeats the purpose. So if you didn't have it then, you got it now. And
yeah,
and it is an immune whatever your immune system strength is, they say that has a lot to do with it. If you're somebody who's already previously sick, like you just said, then they're at more risk of their antibodies not being able to fight it off. That's what you're saying. And that's true. Mm-hmm. That goes for any sickness. People who have HIV, AIDS, and herpes and some other sicknesses and diseases out there that mess with their immune system.
Even people on dialysis,
right?
Because the immune system is so low.
Well,
even
right.
People on dialysis and people that's on like you said before, diabetes. It's because the immune system is low. They're easy to catch something like that because their immune system is low. And when your immune system
that's your T cell.
Low,
if I'm not mistaken, that's your T cell count.
Yeah,
so if your T cell count is low, so that would be anything that does that. So whatever ailments you have that weaken that, right, it makes you more vulnerable to it. But the reality is that you still got to live your life and don't live in fear. Still go outside and do what you got to do. Be careful. I mean, for those who are being careful now, should have been careful before. You're more likely to catch, depending on the lifestyle you live.
Yeah,
you're more likely to catch syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia before you catch the coronavirus. I mean, I'm just saying, more people got chlamydia, herpes, HIV, and all these other diseases out here that could be spread upon than the coronavirus. There are more carriers of these other diseases.
Yeah.
So somebody said to me out in the streets, I can't say where it was, yo, I heard they trying to get a vaccine now. And I said, maybe somebody important got it, and that's why they want to rush it now. If you know what I mean by that, Zaccheus.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that's the situation. But, before that, it was told that it could take a year. They're talking about certain medicines that cure certain stuff that people were trying, and it's helped for some people. There's no reports. Yeah. There isn't any tangible reports that I can give that would tell you how many people have been cured from it. But there's been hearsay that somebody got the cure for it from some nation somewhere in this world, and they good. They got it cleared up. They good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't. Listen, man, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, man. It is what it is, man. I can't be out here shook, man. I don't think it's my time, so I don't think I'm gonna be catching none of that. I didn't catch Ebola. I didn't catch Zika. I didn't catch swine flu, bird flu, SARS. I didn't catch any of that. So and I'm not gonna catch this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna catch it now.
Yeah, man. That's all I can say. Zaccheus, any more words on that?
Well, I tell people all the time, man. I mean, to keep yourself clean, you got it before you collapse. You see people in the street sometimes. They eat food without washing their hands, and they touching things. They touching. You're rubbing your hand against the subway station. You're doing a lot of things. So I always suggest to keep a hand sanitizer on you, or if you find a bathroom, go wash your hands, because especially hand sanitizer, it's easy access to get to now. There's no excuse not to. It's hard to avoid germs, man, but it's just gotta be mindful and careful of yourself. No. I believe this is something to lower the population. I believe this is something that is. I would say I don't know if it's man-made or not, but could be an experiment that when something went wrong and they go you spread all over the place. But I don't know. I just have a feeling that something like this is gonna be like the Zika in the Ebola. It's gonna be up in the media a lot, and then after a while, give it another 2-3 weeks or so, then people not gonna be talking about that no more. That's it might go into that, So
they'll be talking about something new,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's how this all starts. They'll be talking about something new. So I don't understand.
Yeah.
But I'll just wait and see. I'm sure there'll be something going on. I'll just wait and see. People still taking trips though, to these countries that say they have the highest cases. I don't think all flights will be suspended worldwide. No, it's not getting to that point. Right. Although I saw stuff about certain schools in certain areas around the nation and around the world, around this nation and also around the world, that are closing school, for a couple of weeks just to see what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah. Certain places of work and businesses are shutting down for a week or two to stop the spread or chances of the spread. Yeah, man, you got stuff going down, man, in America and Canada and stuff like that, and in other countries. They're trying to say that South America has the highest South Korea. Let me correct that. That South Korea has the highest cases now. Now, that doesn't mean that they have the highest numbers of people who tested positive. Mm-hmm. Cases meaning quarantines, testings, and stuff like that, and people who may have it, but there's been no proof on the number of those who tested positive. Recently, there was an Amazon warehouse scare because one of the workers tested positive for coronavirus. So they say. Wow. Yep. And issued immediately all mail carriers. Sorry, not mail carriers from U.S. Postal, but Amazon mail deliverers, that they wear gloves at work when delivering. Where the drivers wear gloves delivering packages to people's doorsteps. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we're at with that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, man, it's something that something to think about. But if it's a fad, I can't call it. But sometimes when you say it was a fad, but something when people stop talking about it for a while, and the other disease in the past, people just all of a sudden just stop talking about it fully. Exactly. Doesn't mean that it don't exist, but it just stop talking about it and it fades out. Mm-hmm. This most likely might phase out.
Nah, ain't no might. It will. Because listen, they don't like the fact that this is hurting with the stock market. If you do your history, for people out there who are listening, a new disease or a disease epidemic, I want to say, usually when that happens, the stock market goes up and down, goes down, goes up, stays down for a while. I think that happened when the big huge HIV awareness at a particular time where people were just finding out what the heck HIV was and the spread of HIV, and it really affected the stock market big time at that time. But most of the diseases, like we said, Zika and Ebola would go down for a minute, come back up. So they definitely want this to go away because it's hurting money. Right. China's economy is getting hit bad.
Mm-hmm.
They've been seeing in major cities like Shanghai and Beijing and Hong Kong, they were talking about how it's like ghost towns. I mean, I saw a report. It showed a before and after, before coronavirus. Like they would show like how busy the streets was and tourism and everything.
Yeah,
and just everyday normal functioning day-to-day life in these cities. And these cities are bigger than any other city here. I mean, we're talking about cities that have 20 million people, 30 million people, 15 million people. That's a lot of people.
See?
Okay, that's more than
a lot of people.
That's more than New York, LA, Chicago, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about very highly populated cities. They showed a video before Corona, after Corona, and after Corona, they look like ghost towns. Come on now. Cities that have that many people having ghost town vibes? Nah. So they definitely don't. So they definitely want this to go away.
Yeah.
It's hurting business. It's hurting the economy. They do not want this to continue. So somehow something's going to happen, or they'll just stop talking about it and reporting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just every time you turn on the media, it's always about a case or some kind of information they find them. It's all the time. It never fails.
Yeah.
But this too shall pass, man. Because
yeah. All right, so
this too shall pass.
Let's move on. This is what I really wanted to talk about today because it got me upset earlier this week. So for those who voted, I don't have nothing negative to say against you, but I just wanted to say this to be clear. For those who voted on Super Tuesday, well, this was actually before. No, this was either Monday or Tuesday. So for those who voted, I'm glad you exercised your right. I applaud those who believe in voting and stuff like that. I personally have my beliefs. My beliefs have changed over the years. I feel very different about voting than I did when I was 18 years old. So, but I'm not knocking. I want people to still believe if you believe in the system of voting, I don't want to knock that. I know for me, my vote is based off an agenda only now. And if that agenda is not met by a candidate of my choosing, then I will hold my vote hostage. That is the position that I have taken for the last, I don't know, let's see.
Yeah.
I took that position probably for the last, I don't know, six years maybe. I don't know. It's been some years, probably longer than that I can remember. But I haven't voted in a long time. I think the last time I voted, the last time I voted was when, dang, I can't think of it. But anyway, I'm still a young guy. I can still, do whatever I got to do. But I just feel like it got to match the agenda. Definitely. Okay, now that I got that out the way, Chuck D from the legendary hip hop group Public Enemy endorses Bernie Sanders. I don't know why. I don't know why. I mean, he didn't endorse anybody else that I remember. I don't think he's ever endorsed a candidate until now. He didn't. They tried to get him to endorse Obama. That didn't happen. And he had every right not to do that. And for some of us who voted for Obama in the past and looked at what he actually done, you know, as far as people who he fought for in the White House, I think if people would have knew that about him, what he could do or was able to get done, probably wouldn't have voted for him, because they would have said, well, dang, here we are. We got the first, well, I mean, he's half black, but white people know a black man when they see him. So that's why they called him the first black president. He's not called the first biracial president, although he is. But, you know, they called him the first black president, but he wasn't raised by American descendants of slaves. So he doesn't so he didn't necessarily grow up like that of an African American or somebody who's black who grew up in America, or, you know, whatever. He didn't grow up like that.
Yeah.
So he didn't have a black agenda. That's no surprise. You gotta have the black experience and the black mindset to have a black agenda. Now, if you're not black, and you're a president for the people, then you have to adhere to the black agenda, because you have to be the president of that too. So no matter who you are and what you look like, no matter who you are and what you look like, if you're a candidate, you have to have the agenda of all people, because all groups come to their candidates, the Jewish community, the Italian community, the Asian community, even though most Asians don't even vote. Well, hold on. Let me be correct. I'm sorry. Most Koreans in America don't vote.
Wow.
They don't necessarily have to, because they know how to gather their resources and have their own politics within their own communities. Something that black people should do. Okay. You know, Bernie Sanders, let me just say this before I get deep into Chuck D. Bernie Sanders' bloodline connects to the Jewish community that connected with the Jewish Holocaust. He, with a straight face, was on the Breakfast Club and asked Charlemagne, what is reparations? Now, if you don't get your lying behind out of here, how do you not know what reparations are? And you are a Jewish man who has connection to the Jewish Holocaust and the people of the Jewish Holocaust. They get reparations, and Israel gets aid every year from America in the form of reparations. So don't sit up there and tell me you don't know what reparations is. And then you got Killer Mike endorsing them. And then you got all people Chuck D endorsing them. Zaccheus,
Killer Mike is endorsing.
Yes, he's been riding with Bernie back when he was going against Hillary Clinton. Yes. Zaccheus, I know I was long-winded trying to introduce this, but I just wanted to lay the foundation of what we're going to be getting into with this topic. Can you please, if you can, make some sense of why Chuck D would endorse Bernie Sanders? I mean, it would have been worse it wouldn't have mattered if he would have endorsed Joe Biden either, because he ain't no better either, and we'll get into him. But please, I don't understand why he would endorse somebody who's against Chuck D's original agenda from the early Public Enemy days. Speak to this, please.
Yeah, so I didn't understand Chuck D's approach when he decided to fire Flavor Flav, because...
Wait, hold on. Before you get to that, let's just talk about why he would endorse Chuck D. I mean, why Chuck D would endorse Bernie. We'll get to Flavor Flav later.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is that Bernie Sanders, every time, I've noticed that for the past few years, every time there was always an election, he always ran. That's one thing I noticed. But another thing is that what I've heard from Bernie Sanders is he believe in the Socialist Party, and Socialist Party is more of a, for those who don't know, Socialist Party is more of a party that promotes free medical, free certain things that certain privileges that you are accessible to. Now, a lot of us, a lot of black folks, a lot of us are democratic. So when you hear because the only aim and goal, they believe Sanders have is to bring down Donald Trump, Agent Orange, we call him. But my thing is this: for him to be a conscious dude, and endorse Bernie Sanders, it's more like it's confusion, because I want to know, okay, is he 100% for uplifting our community and embracing our community and lifting it up? Because there's a lot of us that we have that we don't get treated well. We're in rundown the schools are not so great. Other social issues we have, we always put at the end of the stick. So for him to endorse Bernie Sanders, I mean, I wouldn't expect Chuck D to endorse Bernie Sanders, because Chuck D's coming from a conscious political, even in his music, is conscious. I'm sure he believes to be still conscious now, but for him to endorse Bernie Sanders, is like, wow, I didn't know Chuck was into politics. It's more, it's more about, okay, he's put his faith in Bernie Sanders just to get this week give the people what they need. And they're just socialists, but actually give the communities what they need. So they believe in that. So did he endorse? I want to know if Chuck D endorsed Obama when he was running at the time.
He did not.
Because I want to know. I would like to know if this is his endorsement. Because
no, he did not. He did not endorse him.
Yeah, so it kind of puzzles me the way, how I wouldn't expect Chuck D to endorse him. I really didn't expect that at all.
Well, he performed at a Bernie. He performed at a Bernie rally or whatever the heck that was. So I mean, he got a paycheck, but man, that ain't worth that. And this is where we want to get to what else happened. It wasn't worth him throwing his brother Flavor Flav under the bus and throwing him out of the group because Flavor Flav had a cease and desist. Like, yo, don't be using our likeness. Because let me tell you something right now. Right now. Chuck D, as far as the MC, is the voice of Public Enemy. But Flavor Flav is the image of Public Enemy as well. And there is no Public Enemy without Flavor Flav.
It would look weird because the only thing is they see when Chuck D performs, a lot of people, let me tell you something, Flavor Flav symbol stands out more than Chuck D's. Although Chuck D is rapping, Flavor Flav symbol of Flavor Flav stands out more. Meaning because of his style, his swagger with the huge watch around his neck, and the way how he dresses and the way how he carry himself.
People love him. Man.
Yes, he's the hype man for 35 years, but it's just that to see Chuck D without Flavor Flav is like seeing peanut butter without jelly.
Yeah. Best hype man of all time. They don't get no better than Flavor Flav in terms of that foundation of that group. He is the foundation of that group. He is.
It's like seeing curry without the roti. It's like it's like
listen,
pizza without the cheese. To see that
exactly. listen, it's
so
like
to me, it's just to me for him to do that, it don't even sound like Chuck D.
Well,
that would do something like that.
Right now they're going at
35 years.
Well, listen. Things haven't been to 100% between Chuck D and Professor Griff. Okay, so the thing is that Public Enemy will always be Flavor Flav and Chuck D. There is no Public Enemy without either one of them. If Flavor Flav did that, I'd be saying Flavor Flav was whack for kicking out Chuck D. You know what I'm saying? And right. You know, listen, they've gone through this before. I understand back when Flavor Flav was out there, when he was with Bridget Nielsen, and it wasn't a good look. But listen, he's still him, you know, and then we don't really know who Flavor Flav endorses. He might not even endorse any Democrats. He might be a Trump fan. I mean, listen, before Trump ran for office, Trump was on Apprentice and Trump was a Democrat. So a lot of people did like Trump back then. So it's possible that those same people who liked him back then could still support him now quietly. It's possible. You know?
Right.
I don't support no candidate. To heck with both the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. To heck with them all. Yeah. I ain't rocking with none of them. Okay? I ain't defending nobody. And also, I want to get to what you said, Zaccheus. You said most black folks being Democrats. Most black folks will vote Democrat because the liberal is more cunning than the conservative. So that's why they fall for the okie doke. But black people the agenda of black folks, most of us, our agenda is more conservative because we believe in families. We believe in generational wealth if we can get it. Jesus Christ. We believe in bettering ourselves and our communities. These are things that we believe in. We don't have the resources for this stuff, but we definitely believe in this stuff. So most black folks are conservative, but they won't vote Republicans because Republicans are the lion that shows his teeth, as where Democrats are the lion cubs that play around. Understand that they're both lions. You get my point?
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Okay. So they're both.
That's politics,
that's politics for you. And people need to understand that the Democrat and the Republican are just co-workers who work in different departments.
Yeah. It's like,
They work for the same CEO, which is the president. Whoever that CEO is, because it switches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, see? Yeah.
And there is no Democratic candidate that has a black agenda. First of all, Joe Biden signed the crime bill. Bernie was around in politics around that time too, and he had a hand in that too. So how is it that I don't understand? I'm glad Bloomberg bowed out because, first of all, nobody black should have been voting for Bloomberg with his stop and frisk policy, and he doubled down on it when they asked him, that was unconstitutional. He didn't feel it was unconstitutional, but then gonna apologize later on. I might have been wrong about that. Yeah, you were dead wrong about that.
Oh yeah.
And you did nothing for these police that killed black folks.
Oh yeah. Still look at that.
In New York City when you was the mayor. I have to say, New York, because this is not a New York podcast, even though me and you are from New York. But, I want to let people know something about Bloomberg. But I guess it's irrelevant now because he's out of the campaign. But the thing is that you have other people who share his sentiments as far as how they feel about black people. Don't nobody have a black agenda. Trump don't have one. I don't care what people say. Bernie don't have one. Elizabeth Warren don't have one. Joe Biden don't have one. You don't.
Right. Right. It's like we got to do our own research and our own reading, you know?
Yeah. I don't understand. Yeah. You know, Chuck D, he's the same man that said on Fight the Power, we got to fight the powers that be. What?
Yeah.
And you endorsing Bernie? Most of
it's a conflict.
Chuck D said most of my heroes don't appear on no stamp. This is the same man that said
deep, yeah.
This is the same man that said Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant to me because he's straight up racist. The sucker was plain. Yeah, him and John Wayne. This is the same dude.
John Wayne. Yeah.
Come on now, you gotta be kidding me.
Same dude, yeah. Gotta be kidding me, yeah. You know, some people change, you know.
Jesus.
And I believe he changed because he was never like this before. To be true, I mean, to endorse Bernie Sanders, to endorse a politician, I'm surprised Chuck D would do that. You know, I'm taking back that Chuck D would do that. You know, I mean, and then for him to release it and to just firing our brother Flavor Flav. Come on, man. I think that's too extreme. I was saying to myself, that was too extreme, and and you don't throw away 35 years of friendship and when the music came out, and then throw that away, and just don't embrace each other, like what Flavor Flav said on the Twitter. Chuck told Chuck D on Twitter. He said, "You're gonna." Wait a minute. He's like, wait a minute. Whoa. You mean to tell me, Chuck D, that you're gonna let our 35 years of our music and 35 years of our friendship, over 35 years of our friendship, go because of politics? Barry Sanders? Are you kidding me? You can't be doing this. And he said, yeah.
Listen,
yeah.
Listen, I was saying to you off air that Chuck D represents the pro-black early stages of hip hop.
Yeah.
So, you know, other than just consciousness, but just the pro-black part of the consciousness, and it just doesn't make any sense how he would endorse somebody like Bernie Sanders, who Bernie Sanders says with a straight face, asks a question: what is reparations? You know, I find that offensive that he asked that question, knowing what knowing what his bloodline is.
Sure.
You can't be no, not having it. Not down with that, man. I guess let me be careful about what I'm saying here, because I don't want nobody saying that I'm racist because he's Jewish that he should know. I'm just saying a Jewish man of his age who is very Holocaust, he's very conscious of the Holocaust. That's all I'm saying. Yes. This is not somebody who's not conscious of that. He is conscious of the Jewish struggle, and he should be.
Yeah.
I applaud. I applaud that of every culture. If you come from a culture that's had atrocities against you, then you should always be conscious of that. Whatever culture you connect to, of people, of race, of ethnicity, whatever group you belong to, I don't have a problem with that. But I'm just saying, don't play stupid now. That's my thing. I find that offensive. Don't play stupid. Don't do that. But see, that's allowed when people do that to black folks. But see, that's not allowed when you do that to other groups. You hear what I'm saying?
True. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So true.
You know.
So true, man.
So somebody like Bernie Sanders can never get my support. Never. And it has nothing to do with okay. I mean, okay, yeah, he kind of coins the phrase of democratic socialist, but I mean, but that's not the main. That's not the main reason why I'm rocking with him. I'm not rocking with him or Biden or anybody else because they're playing stupid when it comes to our issues, and you shouldn't still get our vote. You shouldn't. Why?
Yeah.
I just think a lot of our people need to be educated about. You know what it is? I'm gonna just say this right now. And, you know, we've talked about this before, about voting. We seem to do this all the time. I can understand why when it comes to the black vote, that people feel that they can automatically get it because black people are always, in this nation, were always reminded of the stuff that happened for us to get that vote. But yes. Black people need to understand that Marcus Garvey never voted. Malcolm X never voted. Listen, Malcolm X, because he believed in black empowerment in a different way, that would have been more effective and the work would have got done before a vote even hit the table. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I can understand why people say, well, you know, you got to vote because black folks have fought and died for it. Let me just say something about the original agenda of black people in the civil rights movement. It was the civil rights movement. Yeah. They called it the civil rights movement, but that was a human rights movement. Mm-hmm. Human rights first. The civil rights movement is a human rights movement first, not a voting rights movement. The civil that's what I hate. I hate when they try to say or use the voting rights fight as a means to the civil rights movement, like that was all that it was. No, it was not. People were sitting at lunch counters and getting hoses sprayed on them and dogs on them because black people didn't want to be killed like roaches.
Right.
That's why, because we didn't want any more Emmett Tills. That's why we had the civil rights movement. First, that was the first thing.
Yes. Hmm?
And black folks, don't you ever forget that. That movement started. That movement started because we didn't want any more Emmett Tills.
Exactly.
Zaccheus, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We don't want more Anthony Sandra Bland. We don't want that. You know, I mean, it's just something that we stood to stand. We don't stand for that. We don't stand up for that because a lot of us tend to forget and tend to be comfortable. What I mean by comfortable, meaning that comfortable, we said, okay, our bread is buttered, so we ain't got to worry about it. No, you still do. You still do. And voting, like what John Lewis said, the man that walked with the king over the Emmons Peters Bridge, and the one and during that time, 1965, when he crossed the bridge with the king, and they fought for the rights for us to. They fought for the right for us to vote, of course. A lot of bloodshed, a lot of struggle, and John Lewis could tell you. He could tell you about it, because but we cannot forget. We cannot forget the civil rights struggles. We can't do it. Now we're living in where sometimes the votes, sometimes they're tampered, and sometimes some people feel that there's no need to vote. You know why some of our black folks don't feel there's a need to vote? Because there's not it doesn't interest, if they have no agenda to lift our communities, what's the purpose?
Yeah.
If you're going to go around in circles and and just because you're a black candidate doesn't mean that you are for us in building up our community.
Facts.
In the black agenda. We gotta before we vote, we gotta find out what you're about. Now, before Bloomberg just pulled out. I think he pulled out like last Tuesday. Pulled out.
No, he pulled out. He pulled out this Tuesday.
Yeah. This
past Tuesday.
This Tuesday he pulled. This past Tuesday he pulled out.
Yeah, because it was Super Tuesday, so all of these states had Democratic nominee voting on Tuesday. That's what they call Super Tuesday. So there were so many states that voted this past week, and he didn't even get. He barely got anything. So at this point, he was like, "Well, dang, I done spent like $240 million on promoting. I mean, on advertising, and he didn't get much. So that's why he had to get up out of it."
Yeah, exactly. All that money on advertisement, pushing. He just didn't fit the bill, and he stepped out. He stepped out.
Yeah, get that man up out of here.
He tried. He realized enough for him. He stepped out. But Bloomberg before he stepped out was saying a lot of stuff, man. He was saying that he's going to do this for the black community and do that for the black community and bring better schools and open up better programs for the kids and just make it a good environment. But once and then I remember when he went to AMC Church, where how some folks stood up and they had their backs facing him.
Mm-hmm.
How they turned around when Bloomberg was speaking.
Because they didn't forget about the policies that he had as a mayor in New York City. See, that's the thing. What made him think that he was going to be a president that we could respect, being what he put in New York, man. I don't like that. I don't like what he did in New York, man. Okay, unconstitutional. Okay,
stop and frisk.
Yeah. Now a lot of people outside of New York don't know about Bloomberg, but me and you do. Okay, we know about Bloomberg. We know about Giuliani. Okay, we know about them.
We do.
And we ain't rocking with them.
We ain't doing it, nope.
Bloomberg. Heck no.
Heck no.
I ain't rocking with, and Joe Biden need to get the heck up. We need to get Joe Biden the heck up out of here too. I ain't rocking with him, and he more than likely is going to be the primary candidate for the Democratic Party. So he'll be going against Trump. He'll lose. Trump will continue to be president again. So Trump ain't going nowhere.
Exactly.
In the meantime, in the meantime, black folks, because speaking on the black agenda, if Trump is still going to be there, then we can't fall asleep at the wheel. We have to still put pressure on him to address what we need done in this nation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, and I know he ain't going to do it, but at the end of the day, well, first of all, we don't even have the right representation talking to him. So probably what I said didn't even matter just now. But within our own communities, we need to make sure that we're keeping our eyes on what we need to do as best as we can. No matter who is in office, the black agenda should be number one for us. Just like the Jewish community always has the Jewish agenda, which they should, because that's the community they're a part of. Just like anybody from the Chinese community should have their agenda number one. Who you are, you should have your agenda number one. You know why? Because you got Trump out there telling everybody what the white agenda is by saying America first. When he says America first, he is talking about the agenda of white citizens.
Facts, yeah. So, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So if it's America first, then for black people, it should be black first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I got to say. Zaccheus, close us out.
Yes, exactly. So you know what? We can't just when the election comes up, we can't just vote just to vote. Understand that people we gotta pressure on the people that we put in office to say if they're gonna say it, they gotta be about it. It's not just speaking some good words and then flapping their gums and then making it good and trying to feed you some sweet cereal and give you some cornbread on top of that and say, okay, yeah, that's good, yeah. No, it's got to be more than that. You know, it's one thing to vote, but know who you're voting for.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So. Exactly.
Right. Zaccheus, let the people know where they can reach you.
You can reach me at Zaccheus B73 on Instagram. Zaccheus B73 on Instagram. Also on Facebook. Wayne Zaccheus Backus on Facebook. On Twitter, at Wayne Backus 2 on Twitter. At Wayne Backus 2 on Twitter. Hit me up, y'all.
All right, y'all can reach me at the Fifth General, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, this was another episode of This is Ian Fifth, and we'll see y'all next time.